welcome to the Countdown Podcast and Waxing and Waning if you're watching this on YouTube. My name's Wayne.
And my name is Paul. Welcome to our review, this time, Wayne, of...
The Accountant Squared. Or 2, The Accountant 2.
It almost works, right?
It
It's
does
an
sort of.
accountant sort of math.
Well, there's a small little 2 up to the corner, so I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, it's almost the first time I've done it since Alien Cubed.
Oh, yeah, man. I remember that.
All right, let's get into the vital statistics. The Accountant 2, brand new sequel, of course, to The Accountant from 2016. Can you believe, Wayne?
8 years.
It's been 9
9 years.
I'm glad you can also do math. Clearly, you are an accountant not.
No.
Yeah, this is another action thriller film, which is also directed by Gavin O'Connor, he who directed the first film, and written by Bill Buke?
Do we know Jabil?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
Hang on, I can look. It stars, of course, everyone's favourite divorcee, Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, Cynthia Adaya Robinson, Daniela Pineda, and J.K. Simmons in a small role. It's 132 minutes long, Wayne. And what do you think the budget was for this sequel, which everyone was asking for?
80 million.
Why?
I don't know.
Because you read it on the page?
No.
'Cause that's 100% correct.
Is it?
Yeah.
I was going to say
Nailed it. That might be the first time you've ever actually hit on the budget.
Yes, there you are. All right, nice.
Good job. The box office thus far, a little underwhelming, $9.4 million. However, they are projecting it will make in the North Americas 20 to 25 in its first weekend, which is around about what the first film made back in 2016. And it went on to make $155 million globally, which would put this one right about the line, slightly probably over, because I don't think there's been a lot of marketing for this movie.
Yeah, that's quite good.
So it could end up doing as well as the first film.
Which is all you can hope for in this day and age.
Is it, however, a good film? Wayne, what is The Accountant 2 about?
All right, so here it is. Without giving anything away, the plot is someone dies and they leave a note to call the accountant. And it's got something to do with the other movie. In fact, it follows on from the other movie, but I had forgotten everything about the other movie. So if you want to see The Accountant 2 9 years later, I suggest going on YouTube and getting one of those, like, recap
Synopsis.
The Accountant. Yeah, okay? So then the accountant comes in, and basically he has to team up with his brother and a sort of a director of FBI or some kind
Deputy
of
director.
function, something like that. Yeah, to get this particular... Basically, someone dies, the family needs help, there's action scenes. That's what The Accountant 2 is about.
It is indeed. Now, the bona fide critics, those who are paid for what they do. On Rotten Tomatoes, 78% of 144 critic reviews are positive, with an average score of 6.2 out of 10. On Metacritic, always a trifle harsher, 58 out of 100, based on 40 critics. And from audiences polled by Cinema Score as they left the theatre, A- on the A+ to F scale. I realise
big.
The audiences aren't paid. But yes, there we are. So audiences liking it, critics liking it enough. This is, I think it's fair to say, Wayne, a bit of a crowd-pleasing film.
I agree.
I don't think it's reaching for any great critical or heights. Doesn't have a lot to say beyond what's on the tin.
Yeah,
However,
solid matinee fare.
what did you think of The Accountant Squared?
Okay, I think that I really love The Accountant, and I came to The Accountant 2 hoping for more of the same. I did not get more of the same.
I would agree 100%.
I got entertained still, but not in a way that I was expecting to be entertained, you see. So overall, I had a great time with it, but here's what you should know. The first Accountant was mostly about Ben Affleck, and I think what was nice or enjoyable about that film was you're seeing this meticulous person with a condition where he has to have 3 sets of utensils, and he's very exacting in what he does, and that's why he's an accountant and he nails it all. This has less room for that because it's largely about him and his brother.
Yeah, it's a buddy cop film.
It is a buddy cop
It's a
film.
big throwback to the 90s.
Yes, and you know what? That's what the thing is about this film. That is where the gold is, okay? It is an action film. There are action sequences. There are good action sequences. But what's cool about it is you're seeing John Bernthal and Ben Affleck becoming brothers and doing brother shit, even though it's a very tenuous, weird, unusual, what-the-hell relationship. And I was here for it. It is not as hard-hitting and dark as The Accountant because it's not... There's no scenes with him, like, you know... having loud music and he's rocking to or anything like that. It's not really, he's special. And now this is how does that work out. So yeah, the interplay between the brothers is the best thing, I thought.
I'm very boringly, Wayne. I agree with you in everything that you said there.
What?
It wasn't the film that I was expecting it to be.
Right.
However, it is fun.
Yeah.
even though there are sequences in which children are being kept captive and nasty things are happening to them and whatever else, largely the film slides or slants away from sort of really reveling in that or debasing itself, maybe is a better word to describe what it could have done. It doesn't. It just keeps it very light and breezy. Yes, there's violence towards adults and the like.
Yeah.
Yes, there's threats towards children, but it's mainly about, as you say, this connection between these two brothers who the film tells us very quickly have not had anything to do with each other face to face since the events of the first film. And it's kind of real time because it's been 8 years or something along those lines is what they say during the film. So it's interesting at that level. I think the best thing about this movie, to sort of build upon what you've already said, is Ben Affleck and John Bernthal are having a great time.
Yes.
A really great... You can tell these two have really thrown right in and give a fuck about what's happening in this film and about the characters that they're portraying. John Bernthal gets the flashier role, if you will.
He's the flashier character. Though.
Yeah, but he's almost compensatory to Ben Affleck's very quiet and very reserved and very, says everything as it is, doesn't pull any punches in what he says. He's, as often people on the spectrum can be, is very literal.
Yep.
Whereas John Bernthal is much more sort of
personable,
grand and over the top. And yeah, he is more personal, but he's also more abrasive in some ways.
Yeah.
Because he'll call a spade, even if the spade is a piece of shit, and he'll tell it that too.
And I think that's one thing that is sort of an issue about this, is that probably a big triumph of the film is that they make you genuinely care, agree, throw in with who is essentially an evil man. Because John Bernthal is a actual hired killer. So he kills lots of people, including innocent people, I'm sure.
Well, the film tries to tell you and shows you, in fact, in a scene, for being vague here a little bit as well, that he won't kill the non-targets, that he won't let anyone get in the way, in the crossfire, if you will, that he would never attack women and children.
That's true. But in the first movie, he basically, forced an older guy to overdose on his medicine to have
And as you say, that film's almost a different beast entirely, other than having the same characters.
Exactly.
That are
so, but the thing is, I did like watching them, and I'll tell you this, right? I don't know if it's you or it's having a bad day or it's just me, but I found it initially... I've seen it twice, by the way, because I had to see it initially on the advanced screening.
That's how far Wayne is going for your enjoyment. Also,
That's right.
We should say thank you very much to Warner Brothers, Universal Pictures, and everyone involved in the advanced screening. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. And then I saw it again, like 2 days later, with my girlfriend because she really dug the first one. So I got to see a lot of it.
See, what you could have said there was because that's your commitment to the podcast
Sure.
and your commitment to your YouTube channel.
That's right. And obviously I did it for you. So now, in the first screening, I was like, I'm finding it a little hard to follow this, Paul. I know, maybe because I'm an idiot, but also because I was like...
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
No, not so much. I was like, is it... How did we get here? And I did that a bit. And I realized now that one of the issues with the movie, if
Is it going to be a spoiler? Because I was going to say maybe we need to move into spoilers here to get into the issues with the film. Because the film has issues.
It does.
It
It's not a
absolutely
perfect film at all.
It's not perfect by any stretch of anyone's imagination.
Yeah, okay. Let's get into spoilers.
Okay,
Anything
and I
else
want
to
you
say?
to pick straight up on that.
Yeah.
But overall, recommend?
Overall, definite recommend. And overall, it's a popcorn film.
Yeah. That's my sentiments exactly. Don't go in expecting
anything but that. But if it promises...
meditation on child slavery or autism, here's how you can manage it or anything along those lines. It is very, very straight. Buddy cop, so to speak. They're not cops.
Yes.
But buddy action film with comedic moments and moments that are sort of thrilling.
Yeah, definitely. Give it a try. Why not, Joe?
Okay.
You can't handle the truth.
And the truth is, as we said, there's problems with the film, and Wayne was about to espouse about one of them.
Yeah, so the plot, such as it is that J.K. Simmons, who I didn't know was in the... forgot was in the first one, gets capped at the beginning, very early on, and of course, writes on his arm and says, find the accountant. That's how the accountant gets involved. He just turns up in a car park to the director, which is a good scene. But then the rest of it is this guy who gets paid millions of dollars by all these shady operators around the world to do various things. He's like, oh, you're looking for a woman, and the guy that I saw in the first movie is now dead. So he just helps. He just helps her do it.
She says something like, why are you helping me? And he says something like, because you need it. Or just something really throwaway thing.
Wasn't that.
It's never better explained. And that's absolutely one of my issues with this film, which is like, why is he doing this? and the film never gives you a good answer.
Yes, the only thing I could come up with if I'm in the movie's court is because in the first movie it was so important for him to finish something. Like he started the job and then he got fired by what's his name, and then he's like, no, I have to finish, and he had to do all that. So maybe to him and his psyche, he's like, well, this is something I started. This guy got killed. I should finish this. He didn't ever say that in the movie.
Doesn't do a good
just
enough
trying,
job
right?
of establishing. He just throws himself in wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
To the point where he's going obviously well above and beyond the law to get things to happen, even including by bringing his brother, who is, as you say, an assassin.
That's the other thing. Not only is he in, his brother is all in. Now, I understand his brother's...
that makes more sense to me.
His motivation is, I want to get close to my brother.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's fine. But then you have this situation where you're watching all this shit go down and like violence and this and that. And you're, as an audience member, I'm going, wait, why'd they do this again? There wasn't like a strong reason for them to go in on this. And so I forgot it. And so it felt slightly more hollow to me as a result. And there's certain little things that I thought was, like, for instance, I didn't know this until the second viewing, okay? But Ben Affleck looks at the photo of the kid, right? And he immediately knows that the kid is similarly disposed to him in terms of being on the spectrum. And then that's why he goes, no, he's like me. And how do you know he's like you? It's something about the eyes. A little bit of a long bow to draw, if you ask me. You can't just look at one or two photos, right? Yeah, you can't, right? So, and then it turns out, of course, at the end, that the boy is in fact gifted, or like Ben Affleck, and then he has to go to Professor Xavier's school for the little hackers, the hacker. I didn't mind the hacker thing. I didn't mind that.
Look, I'm not sure how I felt about that. Like, the first scene where I thought it was one person who was helping him.
Which does make
Like,
sense.
almost
but it's been
like
8 years and now she's recruited. That's not too bad. That's
and
not bad.
Now all these other kids who are also on the spectrum, and so the woman who sort of heads up his tech support team, his Charlie, I guess, to his own angel.
She does the
Like smashes his face.
I just headbutted the mic.
into
I don't
the
know what
mic.
it is. Yeah, she's obviously his like, and she's mute, so she does the thing.
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
thing.
So that's all fine. Had it just been her, I'd have been totally up with it. But the fact that it's the entire school of Xavier's
well, they
gifted
made
children,
that so at the end the boy doesn't want to go.
I know, but still,
I know.
I'm not
I
sure
know.
about child labor. And well, we're turning their skills into something positive. We're helping out, but yeah, the first film almost makes it seem like he's doing nefarious things, and that's even the deputy director. He says to him at one particular point, like, "You're a bad guy. You do shit for bad people."
Yeah.
And he doesn't dispute it at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But now he's got all these kids who are helping his enterprise. So it doesn't ruin the film
better.
for me.
That's better though, because if he is a bad guy, first of all, the kids in the Xavier School of Gifted Hackers, they are not. I get the impression they are not there against their will.
No, of course not.
Right?
They're there happily.
So that's not child slavery. This is just giving them a home and a
they're
purpose.
giving them something to do. Yes, I do understand that. But should they be doing things for nefarious purposes?
If that's the only job available, Paul.
It's not the only job available. What the fuck is that written?
I bet they get paid really well.
Well,
I'm
the
just
film
saying.
they get a home, a roof over their head.
No, I'm sure there's some sort of trust
Like where have they
fund
come?
or
They're
something.
orphans. That's the deal, right?
Yeah, but if
There
I was,
happen to be orphans who are on the spectrum who are really gifted at hacking.
yeah.
That's well done.
How'd she
Well done.
find them all? That's the
Yeah,
question.
well done for getting that whole
Yeah, I
crew
know.
together.
Maybe she's into computers and there's a forum. I don't know, right?
Maybe we're building towards an accountant universe in which all of these kids are going to be like fucking Shazam.
You know there's going to be a 3. You know there's going to be a third one,
I
right?
don't think it'll make enough money for 3.
Really?
Nah. I'd be surprised.
I wouldn't. They know a franchise is already workable.
I know I said it might make the first one, but this feels like a bit of a passion project, and Ben had a bit of divorce money to spend. Because he's a producer on the movie, so
Oh no, he marries a lot of folks. So
a lot of rich folks, let's be honest.
hey, I get it. Yeah. So I mean, this overall.
On a side note,
Yes.
I saw this article positing by some insider who knows Ben Affleck, good friend, obviously, clearly.
Sure.
He's like, Ben's all up and wants Sydney Sweeney now. I'm like, Ben,
Sydney Sweeney.
Ben, you are like 20 years older than Sydney
How
Sweeney.
old's Ben? Is he older than us?
Yeah, just.
Really?
He's 53.
Right. So Sydney Sweeney is how old?
Like late 20, early 30, 32, 31, I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
But
yeah.
like, I just like the way I see the same articles about Tom Cruise targeting Ana de Armas. So I don't know how true any of this stuff is, but it's always an insider who happens to have the magic fucking.
I mean, it's
in
probably
line
bullshit.
on.
It's probably bullshit.
But if they end up together, like I'll be just like, what? Why? Come on, Sydney Sweeney, you can do better.
bullshit, you'll be high-fiving Ben Affleck, son. Oh, come on.
What's that got to do with the price of eggs in China?
I'm just saying, like, I'd be like,
Can't
good for
say
you.
that, by the way.
Look,
Yeah.
I once was in a relationship with a girl 20 years younger than me.
Yeah,
So
I-
I don't want to throw
But,
too
like,
many stones.
I guess my point is that Sydney Sweeney, of all the eligible bachelors in Hollywood, if
I'm
she
50.
feels the need to have to go towards another actor, why would it be Ben Affleck?
He's still Ben Affleck, Paul. He's Batman.
He's Mrs. X fucking J-Lo.
Yeah.
And Mrs. X Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, rather than
Surely
leaving a
she
trail,
can
at
see
least
the
he
fucking
married him.
writing on the wall.
At least he married him. What if it was like John Mayer or something, right? I love John Mayer, by the way. So,
Serial banger, John Mayer.
well, so the tabloids would have you believe.
Anyway, that was a bit of an
All right, no,
aside,
good call,
yes.
good call.
So I just derailed the entire conversation
Back to
about
the
the
show
film.
for what it's
So
worth.
yeah, some dubious sort of weird use of children in this film, but
Oh.
you know, obviously they rescue this kid.
Yeah, it's all
and
about
they
like
get him
saving
out.
the kids, right?
Here's my other qualm with the film, if you will.
Mm.
It's too long.
Yeah.
It's 132 minutes. It did not need to even be close to that. There's a couple of sequences here between the brothers where they're talking, which goes on and on and on.
Now, are you
and
talking
on.
about the bar, or are you talking
I
about
didn't mind the bar
sitting
scene
on the?
because that's humanizing Affleck's character. I can't remember what his
That
name
was
is.
one of the best bits in the film, I thought.
And then they're going to get into a bar fight and it just freezes on John Bernthal as he comes charging at
that
the
was
bloke.
on with it.
And then, boom, two guys get thrown through the window and whatever. And we never see that girl again because he got a number, but he never called it, which was a bit of a shame.
No, he might get to it later.
Well, again, I think if we're setting that up, you had to have given some payoff to it.
Well, what's interesting is that Ben Affleck is actually looking for a partner in this
Yes.
film. And at the beginning, he's gaming some fucking dating system or whatever. But because of his ways, women just go, oh, he's also, ugh, and then bounce out, right? That was quite funny.
That was a really good scene because they're all lined up because he's clearly the best looking dude in the room.
Yeah.
At least in terms of this event.
Yeah.
And then they're all put off.
Yeah, boom, 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 boom. And he's just like pissing them all off. And I'm like, that's funny.
Although he does say one thing which I thought was absolutely spot on the mark, and it was, tell you what, if I'm married, we'll never hopefully ever have to go through this again. But if I was at an event like this and a woman said to me, "Do you believe in love at first sight?" I'd been like, "Next." Because he was, well, no, that's bullshit. He didn't say bullshit. He said it much more polite than that.
He
But he
said
said,
it's
well,
ridiculous.
it's a ridiculous concept because, you know, love is, you know,
Yeah.
a chemical reaction in your body.
He gives her
which
the scientist-
to suggest, yeah, that only one person could elicit that chemical reaction in your body is complete and utter hogwash.
Yes.
And she just looks at him like he's dead to her. I'm like, that's,
Would you have done that?
yeah, no, I would have said it like that. I would have said, thank you, pass it. Next.
Well, what if it's like she's baiting you. She's like, "Do you believe in love at first sight?" And you're like, "No." And she's like, "Neither do I. Let's fuck." I don't know how it would go, but like I'm just saying.
Only in your world, Wayne, would a woman lead with.
No, it doesn't happen
would a
in my
woman
world. I
lead
can
with,
tell you that.
Do you live in love at first sight? Let's fucking weed him out
Nope,
here.
that's
And if he says no, I'm going to fuck him.
I wonder if that happened.
No.
Listeners. If it's happened to you, I want to hear about it. Just leave a comment or
If
come
you've
on.
ever approached a date and asked the question like that and then intended to fuck the brains out the other person if they said no, let us know.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
And to be sexist from it, especially if you're female.
I was talking to the female.
Right, okay.
All right. So now, Paulie, the accountant 2, what are we thinking? Like, if you're going to go out of 100, where?
Yes. Yeah, we probably need to give this one an overall score. Look, I like the movie. I would suggest that my score at the halfway mark was much higher than it ended up being. I think the second half, because it was too long, because we had too many scenes of trying to build this. They were saying the same thing over and over. That's the
A
thing.
little bit. We'll
The brother, so John Bernthal's character is sort of pissed off and needy in a way. He wants Ben Affleck to engage with him and not just when you need me for a fucking job that you can't finish yourself.
Sure.
We established that very fast, and yet we have several scenes. But it does build between them. Some of them are funny, the bar scene. Some of them are not. The scene sitting on top of the
I
fucking...
like that. I thought
on top of the... Nah. I mean, that moment was good, but we spent 5 minutes getting to it.
Yeah, but you had to show I understand what was going on here. It was the moments between the action.
So you said there were action scenes. I think there was literally 2 in this entire film. Well, 3 if you count the one at the start of the movie, which doesn't involve either of them.
Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe 3.
So
But
it's very thin on the ground between
the action scenes were good though, right?
Yes, they were good. I mean, one was a very quick fight, which was very cool when, he sort of pizza production.
Production company. Yeah, that was cool.
And then we get that's like 40 minutes in the we don't get another action scene until the end, which is an odd thing for a film which styles itself as an action thriller. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
I think I was entertained enough to not mind though.
Yeah.
So that's up.
Oh, again, this is not a bad score from me,
Yeah, what is it?
but overall, I'm going to give The Accountant 2 a 63.
63.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go all the way to clean 70.
Okay.
70 out of 100.
Yep, there you go. So 3.5 stars from Wayne and I for the countdown, and waxing and waning.
Thank you for guesting, Paul.
That's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for
If
asking.
you don't know, this is our podcast, the Countdown Podcast. Links below if you want to listen to us without looking at my face.
Our faces, let's be honest, and my amazing fucking headphones.
I think those look very professional. I'm using these in-ears, and it's okay. But yeah, anyway.
Wayne couldn't get you. It was too hot for Wayne.
Yeah, it makes my ears hot. Anyway.
So Wayne obviously went this felt route, got rid of his hair as well, so that he wouldn't have to be hot.
That's right. I'm streamlined.
Yeah.
So there you are.
So yeah, The Accountant 2 is a recommend, not a hard recommend, not like a hey, you must see this movie, but you know, if you're in the market for a bit of a buddy, not cop, I keep saying cop, but a buddy thriller,
Yes.
with comedic moments and the occasional action scene, The Accountant 2 is the film for you. Get out and see it.
Indeed. I recommend a big-ass tub of popcorn. It's that kind of film.
Yeah. No, well, every film's a big ass popcorn.
Well, sometimes it's a horror movie and you throw up. So anyway, yeah.
No, that's not the way it works at all. That's it from us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, Wayne, how do the good folk find us?
Well, you can Google the Countdown Podcast, or you can subscribe and like this post if you enjoy this video.
That's pretty much it. Search for us there. Join the Facebook community where you can listen to or read a whole bunch of things that the listeners are saying and which we get involved in as well. But otherwise, that's it from us today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Paul.
My name is Wayne.
And this has been the soundboard, because a 90s buddy film needs that sound effect. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.